Welcome back to Stalking in Circles. I'm Tika King.
I'm Maggie.
And we're here to discuss one fan's obsessive behavior towards our band, the Wicked Tinkers. This has been going on now we're going on 3 years. And it has been, well, I wouldn't say nonstop because there has been a few minor breaks, but it is still going strong. We're in the process of getting our second set of restraining orders, but it doesn't seem to deter our stalker one bit.
41-year-old Margaret Ray arrested 7 times for trespassing on David Letterman's property.
John Hinckley Jr., and he changed the course of U.S. history in 1981 when he shot and wounded the president and 3 other people outside a Washington, D.C. hotel.
And that's one thing that we'd like to say is that if you are being harassed by someone, do not hesitate to take out a restraining order. Because a lot of people think, oh, maybe that's, too extreme, but it gives you a tool. A lot of times there's not a whole lot that can be done other than it sets a legal precedent that they are actually not allowed to do it. But if you don't do it, that's the first thing that law enforcement or anyone is going to ask is, did you take out a restraining order? So you definitely want to do that. Also, a lot of times people will say, just ignore them, just block them, just don't interact. That one is true. Do not interact if at all possible. Just try and ignore the person. You want to keep anything they send you, any emails, any voicemails, any messages, any texts, anything that is sent to you by the person who is stalking you. You want to keep that because that is the evidence that you need. You can't just go to a judge and say, well, they're bugging me, and they'll say, well, how so? And you say, well, they sent me these letters, and they'll want them. They'll want to actually look and see what is going on there.
Yeah, so as hard as it might be to not block, you might want to block them, but as hard as it is to see the messages and to get messages from the person that you don't want messages from, it's better to get the messages, just ignore them, but make sure they come to you. There's also one of the things that is good for us is she will say she's going to come to a certain show, and she expects to be at a certain show. And when she does that, we can say to the local sheriff, here's our restraining order against this person, and tell the promoter of the event, this person, we have a restraining order against this person, so we can keep her away from us. That's another reason to make sure that you have all of the emails and messages from the person so that you have an idea of where their head is, what they're going to do, and if their threats are serious, sometimes their threats change, and you can feel a difference in that.
And the thing is that early on, which we've said before, we didn't really keep everything because it didn't really seem like that big of a deal. It just seemed like, well, here's someone who's acting a little odd, but it's all harmless until it went too weird. And now I wish we'd have had those original emails, and actually there was some physical mail too that we were just like,
which is where the photo comes from that we've shown a few times. That photo was sent from Kris to Aaron's house in a physical package. Some of those things were lost. That was the majority of the things from her we still have.
Right. Anyway, so in real life, we're almost, like I said, 3 years into this. And on the show here, we're only going into our second or third month.
But this is still October.
Still October. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's still a month in.
And this is when things started to definitely slide into madness, in my opinion.
So last week we presented you with the email in which Kris decided she didn't like me and that I was lying about being a manager, and she became angry at me, and she said a few things that I thought, okay, if she's not going to be polite to me, I'm trying to take care of the situation. And up until that point, I had been very polite. But this is the reply to the last email, which was a harsh email from Kris to me. This was October 18th from me to Kris. 3 hours, it was 3 hours after Kris sent her email to me. Kris, you are very much mistaken. The Wicked Tinkers are not and have never been interested in you. You have made some serious accusations, all of which are completely untrue. Because of this, you have received a cease and desist message. One was sent earlier and another is being sent as part of this email. We will not be responding to any further messages, voicemails, phone calls, or any other form of contact. Below is a cease and desist message to you. I sent the cease and desist immediately in response to the email she sent last time, and then I sent this email a little bit later, and here is the cease and desist letter.
Dear Kris, this letter serves as documentation of a pattern of harassing activities that began on or before September 11th, 2022. This letter is a notice to you that you must cease and desist these activities against and toward Aaron Shaw, C.J. Henderson, Tiki King, and Maggie Monroe, including but not limited to emails, hard-copied letters, phone calls, any and all social media contacts or posts, and personal contact. Your actions are unwanted and unwelcome and have been unbearable to us. Your actions infringe upon our right to remain free of harassment, and as a result of your behavior, we have suffered in the following ways: substantial harm to personal character and emotional distress. This letter will serve as your legal notice to cease and desist all further actions described above. You are hereby instructed to comply with this letter by October 18th, 2022. If you do not comply, we will take further action. The cease and desist on its own is not enough, but it's the first step. That's the first thing. Say, leave me alone. Because that way it also then paves the way to getting a restraining order. Because you could say, I told them, leave me alone. They would not stop harassing me. And also, don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged. If you do a cease and desist and they keep contacting you, if you take out a restraining order and they keep contacting you, again, it's not, these are not solid walls. People are going to do what people are going to do. However, it does, once again, it gives you something to fall back on legally. And that's important because, once again, if you have to go to court, the first thing the judge will ask is, did you take out a restraining order?
Okay, so after the email that I sent to Kris, and after her last email to me where she says, she hates me and she doesn't want anything to do with the Wicked Tinkers anymore, there was a very short period of one day, but she was angry, and so this is the email that she sent. It's a very brief email.
Hey, Maggie, let Aaron and CJ know I'm listening to Brother. Too bad, so sad. I'm planning to improve my dancing, even if it's just here, and dance to their music. The sun is setting. It's just really nice, Kris.
And they're interesting. She's trying to sort of get back at us by saying that she's listening to the CD of the band that we played with at the last festival that she saw us.
It's very juvenile, and too bad, so sad. Yeah. She says in there, and that's just absolutely ridiculous. And here is her actual voice doing it. This voicemail was October 19th. The previous email was also October 19th.
You hear the music? It's Brother. You hear it? Thanks a lot for what you did. Bye.
Yeah, see there,
So there you have it.
in our face.
Yeah. Ooh.
That she's listening to another band, which, okay. So it is amazing sort of mindset that she could somehow get back at us by listening to other music. It is kind of funny. It's just that sort of mindset that her and our relationship are so exclusive that her even listening to another band is going to somehow upset us. I think that's kind of an interesting glimpse into the inner workings there.
Yeah. So there was a little break between October 19th and now we're in November. She didn't send anything for maybe a week and a half. But then she sent this email to Aaron.
Hello, Aaron. I sent you a letter on Saturday, and it includes me saying you and I working out something for the rent. See, I rushed like crazy to get that letter to you. it is best advised to not contact Maggie, the one who books your events you go to. Not the manager. You're her lie for you, and now I don't like her. You're lucky I didn't walk away from you. I still can, but I want the rant CD. I do love you ever since I saw you in Kelso on September 11. You're my contact person only. We are beyond being friends now, don't you think? I do. I fell in love with you. You have shown me you love me too. Ella, in your own way, it always has been discreetly. Do not make me out to be some crazy fan.
So that's the first part of that email. And in there, she mentions the discreet ways that Aaron contacts her.
Yeah, she says, you've shown me that you love me too, although it's very discreetly. So something that we found out just recently is we had originally thought that Aaron had sent Kris a couple of emails.
At the very beginning.
In the very beginning.
About the dance contest.
And we just found out that no, he never did. That was a misunderstanding actually on our part, just from when he was talking and saying, yes, you want to have this dance contest. And I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. He just meant to us, no, we're not going to do that. I actually took that information thinking, oh, he responded saying we were going to do that.
Yeah.
She has never been given any positive reinforcement
or negative reinforcement. Nothing.
Yeah.
From Aaron or any of you guys.
Yeah. The only thing she's gotten that was in the any way positive was from Maggie. So it's interesting that she turns on Maggie because she's not getting what she wants, even though none of us have ever encouraged her in any way.
But up until this point, the discreet ways that Aaron was contacting her was telling her that where he was from the stage.
Right.
You know, she took that as a personal, I am telling you where I live. And she carries on about that a lot, you know. A married man, because she refuses to believe that Aaron is married. So she says a married man wouldn't tell a woman where they live. You know,
right. Even though it was something that we were doing on stage talking to everyone, and we were just, you know, Aaron's, I'm from California, and he's from Bakersfield, and Tiki's from Utah. You know, it's
but she sees other things like that dog food bag that was mentioned in the last show, and tires. Those things, either Aaron, sometimes she says I put them there. Sometimes she thinks Aaron put them there. She goes back and forth between whether Aaron is stalking her or whether I am stalking her. And the truth is, neither of us are stalking her, and we've never been to her town. But she thinks, you know, someone was taking pictures of me at physical therapy. Was that you? You know, no, it wasn't. She thinks her house is bugged, and we put the bugs in there. But there's just a lot of things that she sees, and I don't know where, but she just decides that something means something else. Like Aaron, in one of the previous letters, Aaron playing the red bagpipes meant something because they're red, like a heart. Right. That was an indication to her personally that he loved her. All right, here's the second part of that same email.
We have known each other for many years, and I cherish that so very much. And the Wicked Tinker, and you were part of making Wicked Tinkers in the early 1990s. You, Aaron, make the Wicked Tinkers. It is hard to watch YouTube with you in it. I do miss you.
Is Maggie Monroe really married to Tiki King? I believe in taking the man's name.
Remember I sent that letter with a picture of C.J. Henderson, Tiki King, and you, of course, from the WLQ Pedla site? I said, boys, we are both Scottish BU, but at least I'm not married to one. I am not married to you, but if I was, and I mean if I was, I would take your name.
And drop the one I have now, of course. I would keep my clan name. I will not give that up. Sure, it is Clan McLaren.
Anyways, you should get my letter in a few days, and I do look forward to hearing back from you. I lived without that CD for a while now, so a bit longer will not hurt me. I do feel withdrawal symptoms, such as I am anxious and fidgety when I think of losing my copy.
Now I have to rely on you to get another copy with autographs, of course. That's just wonderful.
I am saying that sarcastically. I feel much calmer now after sending the letter. Now this email, I need to walk my dog, so take care and be safe.
I know. I now can concentrate on other matter at hand, Kris.
So here again, she says she's known Aaron for many years. And she met Aaron at a concert for a few seconds.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
I don't believe he's had any actual direct conversation with her other than a shoulder shrug. Because I do remember when we were in McMinnville, like I said, she would come up to our merchandise booth or wherever we were, and we couldn't understand her. She would talk very fast, and very quietly, and then sort of run away, and then turn around and look at us and run away and turn around and but it has given us a little bit of pause as far as what people could take from literally a shoulder shrug or a thumbs up from the stage or saying where you live. You just never know.
Now, most fans are just normal people, and you know, it's not a big deal. But you never know when that one person, like Kris, is going to show up and just go crazy.
Which this is not the first time that actually Aaron has had to deal with this sort of situation. We're going to be featuring him on a show down the road. So you can tell us some of his stories concerning other fans who have gone a little too far.
Hi, Aaron. I was going through cleaning up tonight, and I found the picture of the Wicked Tinkers with from left to right is Warren Casey, you, CJ with short hair, and Keith Jones with all of your autographs. I remember I was trying to reach behind you, and you moved away, so away, and no, I was not trying to grope you. So your body's behind Warren, and your head is closer to me. It is an 8.5 by 11 card stock. I'm going to look for a really nice frame and hang it up on bedroom wall. This must have been 2009 when CJ joined the Wicked Tinkers. I must say you haven't aged a bit. You are still handsome as ever. CJ looks boyish-like, but in more recent photos, he looked more like a man. I do believe this picture was taken in 2009 when CJ became part of the Wicked Tinkers, the best band ever, too. The picture of you, Cheeky and CJ, from Wikipedia. CJ has head turned, looking to the right with his tongue sticking out and wearing sunglasses. By the way, I am no longer going to say anything that is not appropriate, as Maggie said in her email to me on October 14th. Remember what that day is, don't you? I will quote word for word that Maggie said to me, I quote, Aaron hasn't been able to send out any emails for quite a while on that email address. The rest is in bold. And he should not be responding to inappropriate comments anyway. I wish I never contacted her. Maggie was very rude to me, and I don't feel talking to her again. You have never been rude to me, ever. You have always been nice to me.
So here she's tattletaling on me to Aaron, saying, Maggie said these things to me, and she was so rude and mean. And, you know, I said he just shouldn't be responding to inappropriate messages from people, which is true. He shouldn't be. And it is true that he was unable to send emails out on that, email address. So for a long time, he couldn't send emails from that email address. All of that was factual information, and she's just using that against me. She's trying to get Aaron and me to have some sort of a problem, which doesn't work, because neither of us are going to take that seriously. Some person that we don't even know tattletaling on me. It just seems it's very juvenile. It is very juvenile.
Yep. And this is another interesting little tidbit. Is this is when we begin to find out that, according to her, she's known us since 2009. She begins to mention other things that happened in 2009 and 2010. Here she got a picture with the band, which not unusual. We do thousands of pictures with people. It went from that little interaction to later on she's blown it into this whole thing that happened. And it's just interesting to watch the sort of transformation from simple gesture to, you know, undying love.
Right. Okay, here's the second part of this email. I forgot to mention that this email was sent the same day as the previous email, just a few minutes later.
I will never ever say anything that you could use against me again. I know you and CJ baited me in Kelso, Washington by what CJ did, adjusting his chair in front of me did, and what you said of a health condition. I feel so embarrassed. Oh yes, I know you get 1,000 photographs with fans. Yeah? How many do you have of me? You both are a real piece of work. I really like this one. Maggie will take action if I contact you, or CJ. I know one thing. I should have dealt with you in the first to get the rant CD. And not assume that you were going to take me to Utah for my birthday, as well as be part of Scotch and the Rocks Festival. I am so very sorry for making such a fool of myself concerning you. I hope you can forgive me, Aaron, please. I want to try to make it up to you if I can. Take care, Kris.
So there, once again, she literally did. She assumed that Aaron was coming to pick her up and take her to Utah, or if we were flying, that we were going to buy an airline ticket for her to come to the next festival that we were doing.
Which happened to be on her birthday, which is why we ruined her birthday. Which becomes a big deal that she still talks about today.
And it's it's interesting that once again that the story is evolving and expanding, going from, like I said, she even says early on, when we met in Kelso, Washington, then it becomes when we met again in Kelso, Washington, and then later on it expands back to things that happened, according to her, things that happened back in 2009, 2010, which were when suddenly that's when it began.
She eventually says that the Kelso 2022 was a reunion. Reunion of them getting back together. So she also says in this email, I will never say anything that you can use against me again. And what she's referring to is some of that first email that we read,
right?
Where she says some explicit things about what she wants to do and her sort of fantasy, and I believe she's saying that because of the cease and desist, and because I was pretty firm in telling her not to sexually harass people.
Also in that email, it illustrates again how there are signs for her, which come out of innocuous things. She literally said, "You baited me by CJ adjusting his chair and you talking about a medical condition."
When CJ starts to play the borin, the drum, he has to sit down on a chair.
Right.
And so, he has to make sure that he's sitting there with his kilt in the proper spot. Mm-hmm. And, he has to put the drum here. And she took that as being some sort of a sexual message to her.
It was directly to her.
Yeah, just to her.
Yep. And also Aaron mentioning that he had a pain suddenly became this message to her.
Right. Okay, so I sent that cease and desist on the 18th of October, and she had not sent me anything until this email, although she had sent those couple of emails to Aaron. This is what she sent to me.
November 11th, 2022.
Hi, Maggie. I wasn't going to email, but I found something priceless to me. I am so happy I found. This was when I first, the Wicked Tinker and Aaron Manager, at that time too.
I was cleaning up and found my photograph of Warren, Aaron, CJ, and Keith from years ago. Yes, CJ's in here. Probably 2009, CJ became part of the Wicked Tinker. I cherish that photograph. I made a copy from our camera and put it on cardstock. It has their autograph on too. I placed it in a really nice in my bedroom. Don't forget, I have known Aaron Shaw and Wicked Tinkers before that 2009. We go way back. Going to Kelso, Washington this year was a reunion, and it was wonderful after so many years. Goodbye, Kris!
So so it goes from when we met
right there
to a reunion.
So even though she's being polite, mostly, in this email, she does have to get that little jab in where she says Aaron Shaw, manager, at that time too. Because she cannot stand the fact that that I'm the manager, or that, you know, that it says that I'm the manager, or that anyone says that I'm the manager. She just can't stand that. And so every time she has to make sure that I am aware that she knows that I was lying to her about that. Okay, there's another email from Kris to me the same day, 15 or 20 minutes later.
November 11th, 2022. Hi, Maggie. Just a note long. I do sincerely apologize making assumption of you lying about being the manager. I do want to work things out, for sure. That has not changed. When it comes to the rant CD, that is weird because Aaron said to me while in McMinnville, Oregon on October 1st, he will see if he can get a copy for me. He never said one word about not making any more. I would be greatly appreciated if you could get a copy for me. Thank you. I can't afford to pay the $15 for the CD, but it's a good price. Maybe we can work something out. It would be much appreciated. I have looked around online like eBay, and the people who purchase CD from you are selling them for $45 and higher price. That is outrageous. I'm so pissed off at myself for losing my copy on the way to go to Kelso, Washington, and I can't find it. I lost it. I was, and I'm so upset with myself for losing it. When I go to the Wicked Tinkers site and go to the merchandise, it shows the rant CD is sold out. Then you click on picture of the rant CD. It shows all of the songs on that CD. Then it says temporarily sold out. What is up with that? Yes, I am so happy about finding the photograph too. I can look at it anytime and feel so honored. I know them, even Tiki King. He is wonderful at playing the drums. The photograph that was taken in McMinnville, Oregon in October is the one Aaron, Tiki King, and CJ are holding a beer. It is blurry, but I am going to see if I can fix it. I still have it on my Canon camera. I looked at it today. Oh my God, they all look like big mountains, like a mountain range, and I look like a tiny little molehill. I hate that picture. I look so small, short. Those guys look like the tallest mountains in the world compared to me.
That's one thing that, you know, that particular CD has sold out. We don't have any with us. We do have, it's available digitally, which is a big part of also music these days, as a lot of people do digital music anyway.
Here's the next part of that email.
Do you know how much more of a fan of Wicked Tinkers? I made a copy of the information about them from the Wikipedia site. I made an enlarged copy of the picture of them that is on the top right corner. I made a copy of Aaron's personal site and the services he provides outside of Wicked Tinkers. I made a copy of them on the homepage too. There are two pictures. I made a copy of the pictures in Tiki. Left Aaron, center, and CJ right are sitting at a pub with beer in all their right hands. These pictures must have been taken at a pub where Aaron, he has such straight face. He looks so creepy and scary looking. He looks like he had very bad. And if someone said anything offensive or inappropriate, or someone has a disagreement with Aaron, he would skin them alive with a butcher knife. I am serious. CJ on the right has his eyebrow raised, making me think of him possibly hearing something that was offensive to Aaron, and he ready to help Aaron. Kidding. A person alive. I know that like some crazy story, but it just gets my imagination run wild, like a race car driver going 200 miles per hour. I made a copy of both pictures from the site and put them in the back part of my folder. One looks closer. I don't feel that way with Aaron's personal site, maybe. He is in formal wear. Aaron looks so different on his site. That picture of him is lighter, and the one I mentioned above is not the same Aaron I know, but kind and caring. Gee whiz, the picture I mentioned above, I would not want to meet Aaron or CJ in some dark alley somewhere. I would turn the other way and run the other way for my life. That would make a great horror story. I haven't written anything for years, but I do have a great imagination. I feel it wouldn't be right to make a fictional story about Tiki, Aaron, and CJ. I would be sure to change names, even the band's name. Oh yes, these guys will be part of a band and have many fans.
So that demonstrates how some of her fantasies go. And as we've seen previously, they are kind of negative, some of them. Mm-hmm. This is one of the reasons why we thought that a restraining order would be a good thing, because...
It was hard to go, getting a little weird with this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, weirder. That very first email where she talks about us taking her into the woods was enough, but we thought that was a one-off that we're like, okay, let's, Oh, so this making up this narrative where first she has, well, Aaron looks like someone upset him, and now he's thinking about how he's going to, skin them alive with a butcher knife. And there's CJ. He's got his eyebrow raised as if he heard that comment, and he's going to help Aaron. It's like, we had our beers. We looked, Maggie said, okay, smile or whatever. This thing of making up stories from our expressions. Once she says it herself, she has a great imagination, which she really does. Oh, and there, she also mentions her files, which we find out that she goes to our website and to various Facebook and to Aaron's other site and literally not just downloads or copies the picture, she prints them out.
Yeah. And
puts them into files. I find that interesting in this age where you could just have a folder on your computer of all of these pictures. But no, she actually, and also our emails, we found out that she prints out hard copies of her emails to us, of our, anything that, well, it's not, the response isn't even a response, but anything that we sent, she references that she has copies all the time. It's
yeah.
I can't imagine it's like boxes and boxes of papers that, but it is fascinating the amount of obsession that is shown there. That, like I said, she printed out 2 pictures. She says one looks like it's a little bit closer, but she downloaded both of the pictures and printed out both of the pictures, even though they're the same picture, just one is cropped slightly different.
Yeah. So she's done what a fan does sometimes, which is going online, finding every single thing that she can find about the band, and printed it out and made some sort of a collage in her room, which wouldn't be so bad if she was 15 years old. But she's, at this point, I think she's 58 years old, and she's married. So I'm not sure what her husband thinks at this point about pictures of this other man that she's in love with all over the wall. Here's the last part to this email.
I feel it was inappropriate to do a story based on that picture and ask Aaron and CJ to read it because I understand they are busy in their own lives. I wouldn't do any sort of story now anyway. If I did, I would get it published and make a profit. I have been listening to YouTube videos of the Wicked Tinkers a few times, and they are still my favorite band no matter what. I do love and care about Aaron. I look forward to hearing from you. Kris.
So she's looking forward to hearing from me, when her last 2 emails previous was she never wants to talk to me again. This is a pattern that occurs.
Right, yeah, she's it definitely is love-hate.
Yeah.
And it just goes back and forth between the two.
I responded to Kris on November 11th after those 2 emails. I also sent the cease and desist. But I responded, I'm still thinking, well, maybe she just isn't hearing me, maybe I can get through to her and it'll all go away. So this is my email to Kris. November 11th, 2022. Kris, I have known Aaron since 1997, since Warren, Aaron, and John were in the band. I met them because I hired them to play all those years ago and since became good friends and later was asked to work with them. I'm glad you found the photo and that it makes you happy. I want you to know Rant is not available anymore because Aaron hasn't wanted more of them made. We ran out about 9 months ago and only had the download cards since then. The best I could do is make you a copy of a CD from a computer. I would do that for you if you like. Whether you want to believe it or not, the band calls me their manager currently. Despite the fact on the bio of Aaron, it still says the word manager. We are both managers of different things with the band. I am their agent and thus speak for them. Again, I am glad you were able to find your photo from many years ago, Maggie.
Yes, that's really a pretty polite response considering what she'd been sending to us.
Yeah. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be...
Well, yeah,
I'm trying to do what I'm supposed to do, which is politely respond to people who email the band, and I'm trying to end this in a positive way, and it didn't work.
No,
it just didn't work. Here is an email she sent to Aaron the next day.
Aaron, did I do anything to upset you? All I want to do is send you some drawings and get the Rant CD. You said you would get me a copy for me. When you took your address off the site and put Maggie's up instead, it tells me one thing. You want nothing to do with me, but on the website you still have the Rant CD saying "Boss sold out." Then I click on the picture and there is a list of songs. Then down on the bottom it shows temporarily sold out. I sent you a copy of a photograph from years ago, and that means nothing to you. I am not playing games, but I sure feel you are. I will not be attending any Scottish festivals the way I feel now. You are my favorite band, but now I don't feel you are. I will leave you alone now, and that hurts. I know you are too busy. Fine. Guess what I see in front of your fans is all you got. Goodbye.
So there again, she seems to acknowledge that there's nothing happening, that, she's not going to get what it is that she wants. And even at the end says, I guess what I see in front of your fans is all you got. Meaning that that she's, at least it seems like, she's going, oh, so that's it? I guess I'm just, I'm out there and you're up there, It is interesting, these waves of everything is great, and then why don't you contact me? I hate you. I'm never going to contact you again. And then I'm sorry. I should be contacting you. And it just goes in these just strange.
She also in this email says that we took Aaron's address off the website, and that means that is a message to her personally, meaning that Aaron does not want her to contact him. Which is true. Aaron does not want her to contact him, but there was other reasons for taking his address off of the website. So here is the email that she sent to me on the same day she sent that previous one to Aaron.
Hi, Maggie. I have been listening to the Wicked Tinkers on YouTube. Then I started thinking with you, taking Aaron's address off the website only makes me feel he doesn't care about me to get of my artwork. He is the one who wants my artwork, to send my artwork, to give his home address in Kelso, Washington. All this makes me untrustworthy of him. I have a ton of stuff to send him, and Aaron was interested. But I see Aaron is not anymore. I don't love him anymore. Besides, he shows no kindness to me now. It is much easier to send by mail to him than try to scan all this stuff and have an attachment. This will take much longer. They're pictures of wolves done in monochromatic coloring, which means using the same shades of colors. It is called hues. I was going to do one in blue, purple, and another one in green. I was also going to make a Scottish scene with Aaron, CJ, and Tiki. I also want to make you logo with what you have on the site and make either a Celtic tribal picture around it and a few other drawings. Nothing I make copies if will not be used to sell. It is only practice my artwork. I quit doing it anymore. I've always tried to be nice, but I get nothing in return. Aaron, CJ, or Tiki want nothing to do with me, especially Aaron. So be it. I feel like I am not proud to be Scottish or feel like going to any festivals. Something else, Aaron and I are both Scottish, but at least I'm not married to one. Him. Thank God. I see the Rant CD is sold out now, and it's not temporarily sold out. Still, that doesn't make sense with what you said. Aaron doesn't want to make anymore the Rant CD. I don't buy it one bit that for 1 minute. All he is doing is playing head games with me. That is all. Are all the other CDs available? It doesn't make any sense. You still have this year's schedule on the website too.
Now this is in November, which is the end of our season. We don't post our new schedule until usually well into January because, one, we don't have it all the time. We have some of the things, but we try and get a fairly complete schedule before we post things. One of the reasons otherwise people will be like, aren't you playing at this games? Aren't you playing at this games? We don't want to just put up a blank schedule with, only the next gig.
And also it gives people an idea of where you've been last year. Maybe you will go to those places again.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and also it's interesting there that she claims that Aaron gave her his home address in Kelso, which did not happen.
I think he probably just said from the stage, I'm from California. And that means that he gave her his personal address.
Yeah,
and she put all those things together in some sort of weird twisted puzzle in her mind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear anything with you taking action against me either because it will only push me further from you. Wicked Tinkers, I am in tears right now. I am not going to work on anything concerning Wicked Tinker anymore. I am sorry. I can't take it anymore. Kris.
Now there she mentions us pushing her away, which, yes, that is exactly what we were doing. Once again, an interesting glimpse into there where we say, leave us alone. And she says, all that's going to do is make me leave you alone. And it's, how else do you approach that? On our next show, we're going to be going over the strange case of Alexandra Paul, who is one of the stars of Baywatch. She had a fairly horrific incident with erotomania. She's one of the few that we've been able to find. It was actually referred to us by a friend of ours. So we thought that it might be interesting to you to get into a little bit about that.
Her stalking incident went on for 13 years. And so it's a very interesting one. Every once in a while, we're going to go away from our own story and talk about some other people or some other things. But after this episode of Alexandra Paul, we'll go back to this point and go forward from there in our own story.
And interesting, we're going to be bringing in stories that actually are not from this case, but from our own histories, where similar things have happened. It's a weird world out there, and we're going to bring it all to you.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.